Rising electricity demand from data centers is raising the risk of blackouts across a wide swath of the U.S. during extreme conditions this winter, according to the regulatory body overseeing grid stability, with power consumption up by 20 gigawatts from last winter.
미국의 전력망 규제기관인 북미전력신뢰도공사는 올겨울 데이터센터의 전력 수요 급증으로 인해 전력 소비가 지난해보다 20기가와트 증가할 것이라는 전망과 함께 이로 인해 미국 전역에서 혹한시 정전이 발생할 위험이 커지고 있다는 경고를 내놨습니다. Oh no, tell us more.
Yeah, well, we mentioned that it's up by 20 gigawatts from last winter. So to give you an idea, I mean, like how big is a gigawatt? This is 20 gigawatts, but 1 gigawatt is basically the typical size of a nuclear power reactor. So imagine that the U.S. is using 20 nuclear reactor worths of energy more than they did last year. And they're saying that wintertime in particular is an issue because solar power generation in the winter is less because you have less daylight time in the northern hemisphere during winter. So you get less help from solar. And then even gas supplies, if it gets really cold, then the pipes can freeze up. So it can be an issue when it comes to gas in that sense as well. So these are the challenges that they're facing this year.
Yeah, well, they're saying that there could be a lot of 정전 사태 or blackouts across a wide swath of the US.
A swath meaning a large area, but usually you think of it as like a large strip. And I think of it like if I'm watching a baseball game or even soccer as well, you'll notice like the fields, you can almost see the way that they cut it in strips because the field has been cut with like, you can see the lines of how they cut the grass. And that'd be like, I think of that as like a large swath, like a large area that's like a big long strip.
그래요. 아주 넓은 구간이나 길 이런 것들을 swath라고 하는데요. S-W-A-T-H. 그러니까 미국의 많은 지역에서 이렇게 정전 사태가 일어날 수 있습니다. Probably not in the south, but maybe in some of the northern states.
Yes.
Loads of areas could be affected. And we're talking about grid stability.
The grid is, in this case, we're talking about a power grid, meaning the area that is supplied energy from a power source. Typically, when we think of a grid, you think of like vertical and horizontal lines that creates like all these squares together. But which I guess sort of was the way that the power was distributed back in the day when houses were made in like a grid system, when roads were grids back then. But when we're talking about grid stability, so once again, the grid here meaning a power grid or the energy being supplied. And stability is something that is just kind of consistent without too much change in one direction or the other. So to have stability means that it's kind of like safe because you're having the same amount of something without too much deviation.
Exactly. Stability라는 거는 안정성이죠. 안정적으로 뭔가가 간다. stable하게. 흔들리지 않고. 이게 이제 stability라면은 무엇에 대한 안정성이냐? 바로 electrical grid. 근데 그냥 grid라고 해도 다 이해를 해요. 전력망 얘기를 하는 겁니다. 이 grid라는 거 자체는 가로 세로 줄들이 다 이렇게 엮여가지고 있는 그런 망, 그런 걸 다 grid라고 하기는 하는데 여기서는 사실 이제 전력이 공급이 되는 모습이 마치 여기저기 얽히고 설키는 것처럼 보여서 그냥 electrical grid라고 부르는 것 같아요. Is it electrical or electric? Electric grid? I don't know. We just say grid though, right?
Yeah. Electricity grid, electrical grid. Yeah,
it's implied.
Yeah.
And we know, we understand.
It all works.
Yeah. And so if sometimes we hear of people in the US who are off the grid.
Yes.
And that means they don't rely on electricity. They maybe ride horses.
Well, they don't need electricity from the government.
Oh, okay.
So if you're off the grid, because sometimes you can have your own solar panels.
Got it. I see.
I don't need, somebody else to provide me, utilities, essentially. So I'm living on my own means. Right. I don't need somebody else to help me.
Yeah. And I feel like someone who's off the grid doesn't have a phone,
Yes,
maybe, right?
it could be as well.
Yeah, they prefer snail mail. 그래서 이제 off the grid 한 사람에 대해서 가끔 들을 때가 있어요. 이제 일부 이제 미국의 뭐 작은 마을이나 이런 데 보면은 정부에서 제공하는 그런 전기, 전력 이런 것도 다 거부하고 그다음에 그냥 어떻게 보면 자기들끼리 자급자족하면서 전화기도 없고요. 인터넷도 없고 그러면서 이제 사는 거죠.
It could be that they're also unreachable. So yeah,
있어요.
if they're off the grid, then you can't contact them, you can't find them, you don't know where they are.
네네.
Yeah.
근데 지금 선생님 얘기를 듣고 보니까 그래도 전기가 필요할 때는 이제 알아서 태양전지 같은 것들을 쓰고 이런 거는 뭐 이제 자체적으로 할 수 있으니까 그런 거는 활용을 하기는 하겠네요. 자, grid입니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Rising electricity demand from data centers is raising the risk of blackouts across a wide swath of the US during extreme conditions this winter, according to the regulatory body overseeing grid stability, with power consumption up by 20 gigawatts from last winter. Let's move on to the next headline.
A painting by Gustav Klimt titled Portrait of Elisabeth Lederer has sold for a record-breaking $236.4 million, making it the most expensive work of modern art ever sold at auction.
오스트리아 화가 구스타프 클림트의 그림 엘리자베스 레더러의 초상이 경매에서 2억 3,640만 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 3,460억 원 네, 금액에 팔리면서 현대미술품 중 최고 낙찰가 기록을 세웠습니다. Wow.
I mean, that's the kind of, like, how many apartments could you buy with that?
I mean, I can't fathom what this kind of money even feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like about 200-300 apartments. So, like, you could have an apartment 단지, right, for the price of that one painting.
Yeah, I don't know, like 3천억 won? A lot of neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Right.
So the portrait of Elisabeth Lederer, it was painted between 1914 and 1916. So this goes back over 100 years. And it breaks, it's a new record, and it breaks the previous record by a lot because the previous record was only 108 million. So it's more than twice as much as the previous record of Lady with a Fan, which was sold in 2023.
Exactly. 우리나라에서는 구스타프 클림트의 The Kiss라는 그림이 또 굉장히 유명하죠. Do you know this one? The
no.
yellow painting with the woman and I guess and man because they're kissing. They say if you're single and you hang this picture up on your wall at home, then you'll find your mate or something. I don't know. It will bring you good luck or something. I don't know.
Oh, that. Okay, yeah. Our writer,
yeah,
Paul
very
just,
famous.
It just posted it so I can see
picture.
it. And
this one is very popular. But
I have seen that.
The one we're talking about today is a different painting. It's, as you said, a painting of Elisabeth Lederer. Now, you did say earlier on that this is the most expensive modern art ever sold.
Yeah.
However, it's not the most expensive painting ever sold.
Yeah, the most expensive one ever is Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci, which was sold in 2017 for $450.3 million. So basically double that as well. So a lot of money once again, almost
그래요.
$500 million.
네, 현대미술품 중에서는 지금 얘기하고 있는 클림트의 엘리자베스 레더라 초상이 가장 높은 금액에 팔리긴 했는데 역대 가장 높은 금액에 팔린 미술품은 다빈치의 살바토 문디예요. 근데 이거는 지금 얘기한 엘리자베스 레더러 초상 가격의 거의 2배 정도나 되는 어마어마한 금액에 팔렸습니다.
Crazy amount of money.
Indeed. Let's have a look at work of modern art.
Yeah, work of modern art. So when we call art, we'll often call it like a work of art, meaning that it's something that's been created. Somebody had to work to make it, and it's not just natural. And modern art, meaning that it's something more recent. Now, this is more than 100 years old, but it's still considered modern art, as I mentioned, whereas the Da Vinci piece,
it predates that, I guess.
much earlier than that. So that's why it's not considered modern art.
그래요. Modern art 그러면 현대미술이 되겠습니다. 그리고 보통 영어에서는 a work of modern art, a work of art 이런 문장 구조를 많이 써요. 그리고 이게 또 this is a work of art 언제 또 많이 쓸 수 있냐면 우리말로 하자면은 와 이거 예술이야. 이럴 때 영어에서 this is a work of art 이렇게 표현을 해요. 그냥 this is art 이러면은 뭐 미술? 예술? 조금 어색하게 들려요. 영어에서는 그때 this is a work of art. 와, 이 뭐 디저트가 it's a work of art. 너무나 예술적으로 맛있게 잘 만들었어. 그럴 때 쓰는 거고요. 그다음에 ever sold at auction.
Yeah, when we use ever, it's like a time period, like forever would be like the time period from now until forever.
Yep.
Whereas ever, we could also use it up until now. So when we're talking about it's been the greatest ever. So up until now, it's the greatest that there's ever been. So here it's saying that it's the most expensive ever sold. So up until now, it's been the most expensive.
그래요. 그러니까 지금까지 팔린 것 중에서 가장 비싸다는 뜻으로 the most expensive ever sold at auction, 경매에서. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A painting by Gustav Klimt titled Portrait of Elisabeth Lederer has sold for a record-breaking $236.4 million, making it the most expensive work of modern art ever sold at auction. Let's move on. This is our final headline.
The UK government is set to ban the resale of live event tickets for profit in a bid to crack down on touts and resale platforms that often list music, theater, comedy, and sports tickets well above face value, according to local news outlets.
영국 정부는 음악, 연극, 코미디, 스포츠 행사의 입장권을 액면가보다 훨씬 높게 측정하는 암표상 및 재판매 플랫폼을 단속하기 위해 앞으로 이와 같은 행사의 입장권을 영리 목적으로 재판매하는 것을 금지할 방침인 것으로 전해졌습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so they're saying that prices are typically 50% more than the retail value. So they're trying to get rid of that. A lot of artists, Sam Fender, Dua Lipa, and Coldplay, for instance, have been outspoken about trying to get rid of the resale of tickets. So
Yeah, because I mean, fans will go to great lengths to go to these concerts, but sometimes maybe they're paying a little too much if they're going through touts.
Touts, yeah. So actually, this is the first time that I've heard this, and I'm wondering if it's a British term.
It might be, but I'm not familiar with it either, actually.
Yeah. But I mean, it does say that it's essentially a person who will resell tickets for profit on the secondary market or the black market.
Yeah.
In North America, we call them scalpers. I don't know if you've heard that one before.
I have, actually.
Okay, so you've heard scalper. Okay, so when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if that's a British term.
But I feel like tout would be the British term. I've only heard of scalper because I've been, exposed to North American English for such a long time. But I feel like, I think you're right there. 자, 여기서 말하는 TOUT, tout라는 게 scalper랑 같은 말인데요. 암표상입니다. So, to crack down on touts라고 했으니까요. 이런 암표상을 단속하겠다라는 거겠죠. And what's face value?
Face value is the original price of something or what you expect something to be valued at.
Yep.
Now, we can also hear this in terms of taking somebody, a person, at face value, meaning that if they say something, then, okay, you understand that what they're saying is exactly how it's going to be. Because sometimes you might say something, somebody might lie about something, somebody might have their information mixed up. So things like that, it can be used in conversation as well.
Sure. 자, 여기서 말하는 face value, 액면가죠. 다시 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. The UK government is set to ban the resale of live event tickets for profit in a bid to crack down on touts and resale platforms that often list music, theatre, comedy and sports tickets well above face value, according to local news outlets. 자, 이렇게 해서 오늘의 헤드라인 자세히 살펴봤습니다.